Okay, so I'm starting to pick away at tearing this addition down on this little mobile home here, and I just want to show you what I'm running into here. So the where the plywood is exposed there, that's the addition. Okay, and then this here is the original mobile home here. So what we're doing here is we're going right back to the original mobile home and completely taking this addition off. And we've, if you've been following along, you know why we're doing this. But I just want to show you what I'm coming across here. So I've taken the skirting off of here, and what we had for skirting was the this original old vinyl skirting, and done the typical way with this this vinyl channel and on top, and then the vinyl siding, and then the vinyl track on the bottom. And so this home has had a skirting renovation done at some point in time. Originally the skirting was this plywood skirting. All right, you can see that green plywood there. That was the original skirting, and then so they did an update at one point in time and went to this vinyl skirting. Now what they've done is they put the bottom track onto this treated 2x4 here, and then here's the framing. You can see the framing for the excuse me, for the plywood skirting. So what we're going to do in the process of our demolition is we're going to get rid of all of this stuff and take it back to just the unit, and then we're going to put in a modern just vinyl. I don't do this 2x4 thing on the bottom here. Those 2x4s, they warp, they twist. There's no reason for it. There's you can just put this channel straight down on the ground. There's no reason to go for all this crap here. That makes a nice clean installation. You don't see the 2x4 there. I know a lot of people do that wood track on the bottom, that wood underneath the track. I'm not a fan of it. My skirting, when it's done, and I'll show you, we're coming we'll be getting into that a little bit later in the process here. And I have a video on how I did the skirting on the last project, and if you want, just go back into our library and you'll see it there. And we're going to be doing exactly the same thing here. But one of the things that we have to do here is establish a grade once we're done, and so with this demolition. And so once I get rid of this old building here, we get rid of the deck and all that concrete and stuff over there, and we're just going to have the original single wide unit sitting here. Then I'll be getting in a bobcat, and we're going to grade this. And this is a very typical, what happens is this situation right here. So you can see how the grade, this ground is higher than the ground underneath the mobile home. So ask yourself this question: how does that drain? If you get water underneath there, and you do get water underneath there, because it's not watertight. So you get water, you get a big rain, you get water underneath there. How does it drain? It doesn't. It sits in there, and you can smell this here. This is very moldy underneath here, and it's because it's not, it hasn't been draining. So not only that, then you have a problem with this dirt pushing against your skirting, and it pushes everything out of whack. So what we want to do is we want to get our grade established before we put our new skirting in, so that we have a nice straight line around the home, and that the water is going to get away and not go underneath. So now that we're doing this, this is the point in time that we can correct all of this stuff. So this is the original frame of the mobile home. You can see it here. This is one of the big beams. It goes the full length, and then it's tied together here to another beam at this end here. All right, and not much to see in there. It's pretty dark, but it's a mess in there. Got lots to clean up in there. There's all kinds of wood and stuff. We just want to get rid of all that wood, all that stuff underneath there, because it just creates places that mold. So here is where the addition joins onto the original unit, and you can see what they did here was there's no overhang on the original unit, but for some reason on the addition, they decided to put an overhang. What that did is it creates a point right there where the water catches, and you can see what's happened there. You can see how stained this is, and that's pretty punky. That wood in there is pretty punky, and so it's not a good thing when you have the water coming down like that. If you're going to do that, you should put a overhang over the whole thing. We will be putting an overhang. We're getting rid of this, but we will be putting a new overhang on the old unit. All right, so this is really interesting over here. So here again we have a rotten corner up there. You can see up in there the damage to the roof deck. Again, if we were going to re-roof this and keep this, we'd have to repair all of this before we put new shingles on. So this was a door that went into the what was the master bedroom area. We're going to get rid of this, but you can see what's been done here. So I'm dismantling it in the process here. Before I get my dumpster in, as I said in the other video, I have to sort things out. So my asphalt shingles are loaded and ready to go, and now I'm working on getting this old metal siding off of here. And getting the windows out so that get as much of it sort of pre-demolished so that when I get my dumpster, I can get it loaded and get it out of here and keep my costs down on the dumpster. But what they've done here is they utilized some of the metal that they took off when they put the addition on. That's the original wall there for the mobile home. So they took that metal off and they moved it out and repurposed it out here on this wall. And what they did, because they didn't have enough, they did a combination of the old stuff. So here's the old siding, and then over on this little sunroom thing in the front here, they put this is cedar channel. Okay, you can see what's going on here, and then they did these panels underneath the window. But you notice there's no tar paper, so they didn't, they just put it right onto the plywood. There's no membrane there at all. So it's not the way to do it. It's not code. You can see here where underneath that window it's been leaking and it's all stained. So that window wasn't properly flashed. The only thing that saved that was the overhang. And I'm just dismantling as I go along here. So they had a stepped fascia. You can see there's a 2x4 that they nailed over top of this 1x8, and yeah, just sort of a real kind of disorganized mess here. But one of the big problems that I've noticed here is you can see I've cut this along here, and the reason I've done that is because that goes down into the soil. So what they've done is they built the addition and they put the siding on it, and you can see here how this siding, this is it here, okay, and this goes around the corner, all right. And what they've done is, here's the joists, and they built a little wall there for skirting and to support the outside wall here. And what they've done is, once they had that built, then they brought and they backfilled against it. So there's, there's a foot or more of soil piled up against these floor joists all along this wall here. Now they did put in a what's called a French drain. There's different terms for this, but it's basically a piece of big old drain tile. This is a perforated pipe. It's got it's plastic and it's got holes in it, so that any water that comes down through there will come out. So that's, it's effective at getting the water out, but the water's still running down that wall to get to the pipe. Now what they've done here is they put some pea gravel in here and to make this, this walkway. And now you can see this wall over here that's they've built with alum block, to hold this bank back. So why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just, build a wall, build that wall taller, and make that, down so that it's down at, you know, down below, so that it's not against the wall, like down where the foundation is. Well, the reason for that is, I think in our area, that wall, to do that, would be over 4 feet tall. So they, you know, they would have been looking at about a 5-foot wall in order to, you know, have it right back and then up instead of that step thing. And in our area, if you have anything higher than a 4-foot wall, you have to have it engineered. So I have a feeling that that's why they did that, although there's so many things that have gone on here that like are not to code, and I don't even think they had a permit, so it's hard to rationalize what's happened here. But you can see how, you know, this is all along here, it's all piled up against the wall. And now I saw this when I looked at the place. I knew that, and that was one of the reasons I thought right from the get-go that this was going to have to go, the addition was going to have to go. Now they did put it some kind of a thing here, which it looks like it might be, it looks like it's got a screen on it, and so I'm thinking that at some point in time, you know, this probably screen went across here, and this was used as a vent to ventilate it underneath there. But that only works if you've got somewhere for the air to move, and there's nowhere here where the air can move. It just, if this is the only opening you have, you're not going to get any ventilation underneath there, so it's kind of useless. And what's happened as well is this bank has been sliding down, so you can see there where that brick is out on the top, that's basically that's been breached. And you can see how there's this pile of dirt right here, and so that's been washing over there, and it's been building up in there. There's a hump of dirt in there. I'll take you to the other end. And when we get into this sunroom thing here, this is really bad. On the other side of this wall, this is all rotten. This wall is rotten underneath here. This is all rotten. This is all rotten up in here. And you can just see how bad this is, and this is underneath that tree. All right, so I think what's kind of happened, I mean, look how bad this is. I think what's happened is, you know, leaves were falling off of that tree, and people weren't cleaning them off the roof, and it just sits there and holds the moisture. So let's look at this from this end. All right, so from this end, you can see here again, you know, where they've piled up dirt against that, and it's been rotting away. You can see they put a plywood in front of it here to try and stop it from pushing in, but I mean, it just you're putting garbage on top of garbage, and it's just going to keep rotting. So the other thing that's aggravating this bank here, it doesn't really show on the camera, I don't think, how steep this is, but you know, from here to the street back there at the highest point, it's about probably 8 feet difference. So it's, you know, it's quite high there. So here we'll take a peek underneath here. Again, we can't really see anything, but you know, it's just that's a mess in there. It's just a mess. So we'll be you know, getting rid of this and cleaning this all up. It's going to be interesting to see that come apart. But I'm just pulling all the windows and everything to try and get as much ahead as I can before I get my dumpster. But ultimately, what the plan is here is to, you know, once the addition is gone, you know, then that's going to be open all the way back to the main unit. So then, instead of having a retaining wall, you know, that retaining wall and that step, I'm gonna take that bank and blend it in to this lower part here, and then it'll be flat up against there. So it's gonna just come flat, and then, you know, and then just blend into this. No steps, no retaining walls. So I want to get rid of the retaining walls. I'm not sure. I may, once I see, you know, a lot of this stuff you kind of have to figure it out as you go along, see how it comes together. But basically, I'm thinking I might take these blocks, these Allen blocks, and repurpose them, and at the bottom of the grade here, the bank, I might run a row of 2 of those just all the way around right to the back, because you know it's going to go all the way around to the back, way back corner over there, and just to sort of you know, just for a little interest. I have the blocks anyways. They're expensive. I have a place for them if I decide to take them out of here. I have another project that I have coming up that I could use those on. Yeah, but we'll see. You know, it looks nice. They look nice rather than just having, you know, dirt and dirt. If we had dirt and then 2 rows of blocks and then the flat section, I think it might look quite nice. And then, you know, from here, this is all gonna, you know, this will all blend it. This is already blended in nicely. It just has to be, you know, it just has to be trimmed up, cleaned up, straightened up. But we like to have those our skirts nice and straight and nothing pushed up against them. So I think I started to finish my thought there, but another problem that they had here was they were watering this bank. You can see how this bank is pushed. You know, everything is pushed over. Here's the sprinklers. You know, everything is pushed. You can see everything is pushed. Everything is, all those sprinklers. Here's one. Here's another one here. And you can see how it's leaning. Everything's leaning, and that's because it's pushing. You know, that bank is pushing. It gets wet and then it pushes. This soil is very sandy around here, so it's not, you know, it's not stable. It doesn't stick together. So I'm not sure. I kind of think probably this bank here is going to stay, you know, with these what we call indigenous plants and trees here. I'm not going to be landscaping that. Next owner can if they want to, but this is a plant that's indigenous to our area. It doesn't need water, grows like crazy. It's an Oregon grape. So that's quite prevalent here on the west coast. And then, you know, then we've got our fir trees, which are indigenous to our area here. And you know, they had ivy planted on here. Well, ivy won't grow much without water. We live in semi-arid desert here, so everything has to be watered. So yeah, so this will, you know, these old timbers will come out of here once that shed's gone, you know, and then, you know, just blend that bank in and then to the level part here. But you know, there again, I think I'm thinking about taking this, you know, just too high, just a low wall like this here, and just kind of, you know, run it all the way around, you know, along the side here and then up to the vanishing point up there. All right, folks, so that's just a little look at what I'm doing here and what I'm running into. If you're doing something like this, don't do it like this. You know, don't pile dirt up against the building like that. In the long run, that's gonna bite you. If you're looking at buying a place, you know, a mobile home that has an addition on it, I always say that these additions are more of a liability than an asset, and this is a perfect example of this. You know, if you buy this thinking you're getting something and you're paying money for it, you know, this is just you know, it's taking a lot of time and effort to get rid of this. It's not costing me a lot of money because I'm doing it myself, but if you had to hire this done, it would cost a small fortune. You know, you'd be looking at a lot of money. Anyways, folks, see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.